This podcast is sponsored by Relevant, a location-based mobile network personalized by your interests. Customize your newsfeed to consolidate all the information you care about all in one place to quickly and easily find what's relevant to you. Find out what's going on in your local area and reach your community from the palm of your hand. Relevant is available on iOS and coming soon to Android. Be the first to know with Relevant.
What's up, everybody? It's the Poorly Edited Podcast. I'm Chandler Davis. We're here in Josh Brennan, our cameraman, and everything else's attic right now in his studio. And we're not at WXLV again. The renovations are still going on.
I don't know if they'll be ready.
I'm fine.
All right.
All right. So for everyone who heard that, Emrys,
I don't think anybody did.
Our social media person always goes live on Instagram and Facebook and stuff on her phone.
And she had a really good idea.
She had a great idea this week because she's always been holding the phone and just standing there and filming everything in previous weeks.
It's a long time to hold the
very long, it's an hour. So she had an idea to get one of those little phone tripod things,
whole concert.
And it was a really good idea, except it was like $5 and it sucks.
Right.
So essentially the clamp just snapped and it just
don't bend that too much to break. I swear, that's how I broke the last one.
It just ejected her phone right out of the tripod.
I have to hold it because
Yeah.
if I don't, then my
It's just gonna get
shatter.
catapulted
It's just gonna
towards
shatter.
us again.
Yeah.
Anyway, this is the Poorly Edited Podcast. It's a show.
That's just how this.
And that's how the whole show is going to be. That's how it's been up until this point. But it's a show. It's a platform to discover cool, creative things and new artists from all over the place, from the internet, from our local area, everywhere, and just have a cool discussion, meet some cool people, talk about interesting stuff, and yeah. So we have Penn Johnson.
It's a terrible place to put that.
Yeah, that's directly in the way. That's fine.
We got our special guest, Penn Johnson, here today.
Thank you so much. I just bought that.
You're welcome.
Who are you?
My name is Coffee Guy.
My name's Patrick Lilly.
I'm
You already
Penn.
said
All right.
And we already introduced them.
yeah, like 3 times.
And we got Emrys Farrow, we got Josh Brennan, we got Lizzie Cates, all in the
We got Chevy Chase.
Yeah.
Chevy Chase, we got
Chevy.
Steve Martin.
Yep.
Keanu Reeves is showing up later.
We got all sorts of people.
Guest
Alive
appearance.
and no longer alive.
Yeah.
They're all hanging out.
Guest appearance by Fallout Boy, which is funny because that happened this weekend.
That happened this weekend.
Yeah.
We did one exciting thing this weekend. I would
It was
say.
a really exciting.
a very
thing. I had a
exciting day.
fantastic time.
yeah.
So there's a venue around here called Live at 13, which is someone from the band Run From the Radio, which I think
Chris Kennedy
from Run From the Radio, which I think you guys are going to be hearing a lot more from in the future because we're going to be
They're
working
gonna
with
be on
them
here
very
eventually.
closely. They're going to be on the show very
That'd be a
soon.
cool show to have at Live at 13.
That is a good
That makes
idea.
sense.
But he made his basement a sick venue for concerts. It's
Surprisingly
super underground.
cool.
Surprisingly cool. When you hear about a basement show, there's a lot of things that come to mind. There's a lot of predispositions you might have about it.
It's probably gonna be dirty.
Dirt,
Yeah,
trash,
yeah.
small
The
animals
furnace is
running
going to
around.
be on.
Usually it's hard to stand.
Yeah.
They're going to be doing wash.
Shout out to all the
Right.
tall people. I know the
Yeah.
struggle.
Yeah.
But
Shout out right now.
it was extremely clean. It was such a fun show. Everyone was so amazing, and the vibe was so chill.
I was having a pretty bad day. Like, I was very mentally overwhelmed.
Yeah.
Like, at work, in between work and leaving. And then
Emrys got you lost on the way to
there was like this
Wendy's.
stupid like transportation failure that was mostly my fault.
I think it was your fault because you still use a Garmin GPS in 2018.
Say
Yeah,
Garmin.
yeah.
That's not true.
It's the TomTom, I think.
But
Is
like
it a TomTom?
I was.
TomTom Club.
Let's not talk about
Shout
it.
out TomTom.
Let's not talk about it. How about we don't talk about it?
We want to thank our sponsors. Garmin.
Hey, I'm just saying.
Pretty sure the last time I
Wait,
saw a Garmin commercial was like 2012 Christmas.
I'll take the
Last time I
money.
saw a
Dude.
Gerber commercial.
TomTom, when your phone won't unlock, it hates me.
Yeah. That's funny.
But yeah, no.
I was having a bad day, and then like
Yeah.
I got there and I walked down, and I'm like, this is gonna be a great night.
Yeah, like you
fun.
just get down there and it's so
vibes
there's
were great.
so much effort put into the whole feel of everything. The aesthetic.
we got press passes, which is
We did.
I
We
was
got
not expecting.
wristbands. Yeah, we had all access to the.
They take it very seriously
Yeah,
there.
the
They
entire
put in a
basement.
lot of work to make sure that everything's going to go well, and it went great. It was great.
Yeah,
Bands were
Shout out to
great.
Mr. and Mrs. Kennedy.
Hell yeah.
yeah. That
Support
too.
local music.
Hell yeah.
Support local music for sure.
I've spent legitimate amount of money to see bands with opening acts that were worse than the music
Oh
that
yeah,
we saw that.
Oh,
those guys are
100%.
really
They're
good.
great.
All the bands were great. We had
Hey guys.
we had
Eastern
Food
Fall.
Truck and Airspace are with us right now.
Awesome.
Yeah.
They're watching right
Truck
now.
and Airspace.
Food truck, airspace,
Dude.
Oh, and
Eastern
Fall,
They're
Run
all
from
with
the
us.
Radio.
Everybody did such an
Bobby
amazing
Mahoney
job.
and the Seventh
Bobby
Son, which I
Mahoney's-
really,
were- oh my
really
God,
liked.
they
That
were
was
so good.
they really good
Everybody
stage
did
presence.
They were really
Eastern
funny
Fall?
afterwards. too.
amazing
Eastern Fall?
job. They did an amazing job. Every
Oh,
single
yeah.
band. And like to have that many people who are so passionate and amazing at what they do, all be in one place and all be just on the same wavelength and firing on all cylinders, like it was just an amazing experience. And I really like,
Water guns, all cylinders, water guns, not real guns. We don't support guns.
no guns. There were no guns at Live at 13.
Water guns.
That we
Water
know of.
guns would have been that probably would have went bad.
There's a lot of electronics.
There's a lot of
There's a lot of electronics.
electrical
I think
equipment.
even the crowd was like 30 people at most, but it was like an amazing crowd.
It was very hyped
It felt
for
way,
a
felt
there was
like a
people
lot of
moshing in this
people.
Yeah.
basement,
Yeah.
They found a way.
which I got thrown into.
I also
Pretty fun.
I jumped in. I'm not gonna lie.
I remember when Run from the Radio, they did a cover of Sugar We're Going Down, and I just panned the camera to catch the crowd, and you're like freaking the hell out.
Yeah.
It was great.
I love Fall Out Boy.
Yeah, me
to
too.
be honest. Run from the Radio had an appearance from Patrick Stump.
Yeah.
He came out and played Sugar We're Going Down.
And
which is
and
great.
Red from Pokemon.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
Yep. No, they're all.
Mitchell has a great stage presence.
He does.
He just gets on there and
They're
freaking
just all
owns
funny
it.
dudes.
Yeah.
Run from the Radio dudes are just hilarious. Like, I think we were saying before.
Do you think that worked on them? Did that butter them up? Are they still listening?
I think they. I just want them to like us. I think is the biggest thing.
We just want to hang out. So
you can
Let
go
us
down
know.
right
You want
now.
to come get coffee after this, please?
Please.
Yeah, no, but it was a great show. I don't know anywhere else that I could be confident I could get an experience like that. You know,
yeah.
such a wholesome. You
It
know,
was-
like
I
just
felt
a
really.
good.
I didn't know anyone there besides you guys going
Yeah.
in. I felt pretty connected with the crowd by
Yeah.
the end, which is weird.
Well, that's the amazing thing about music, and like when you go to see a show and you go to see people that acts that you really enjoy. Everyone is there for the same thing, so it's like you all have something in common right away. Like you all know that, and it just is so much easier to just have a good time, and everyone's all there for the same thing, and it's just always a really good vibe. So yeah, it's a special place.
I'm upset I have to wait until October to
Yeah,
go
for the
there
next
again.
show, Live at 13.
Chandler won't even be there for it.
I won't even be there.
That's right.
I haven't talked about that on
I
the
know.
show at
Can we
all.
make that a live announcement?
I kind of just wanted to wait till he wasn't there anymore. And
Yeah.
just been like,
And then just make a joke
well,
out of it. I'm leaving for 4 months, so in
It's a little over for me.
in the yeah, a little over 4
September.
months. In September, I'm leaving.
How
I'll
many
be back in
Mondays is the
January.
only thing that I care
Yeah,
about.
how many Mondays am I going to be
Mondays?
gone? Probably like 27.
That's a
That's
lot.
that's.
Alright.
You're gonna have to
It's
call
half a
in.
year.
Do you know how many weeks are in a year right now? That's over half a year.
50 Mondays I'm going to be gone.
Wow.
So-
That's gonna be a long 4 months.
But I'm gonna
Monday
be-
only comes twice a week.
I'm going to be
That's a good
working
point.
in Disney World in Florida for like 4 months, and that's where I'm going. And I'm still going to be doing stuff from here. I'm still going to be doing stuff from afar for Lab 212. We're still going to be doing everything. The show is still going to be happening every Monday and all that. So nothing's really changing. I'm just probably going to be like a body pillow in a chair instead, like when I'm gone, and that's how we'll probably film it.
Yeah,
Tell them what
we're
you're
gonna
actually doing.
we're gonna
You said working in
abuse.
Disney. Tell them what you're actually doing.
I wouldn't.
I'm
I
in
would-
turn.
No, we can leave it.
Yeah,
Okay.
We saw another live show.
I'm actually
last
taking
week.
over Disney. What?
We saw another live show last week.
Did we? We did.
on Tuesday.
On
Tuesday,
Tuesday.
yeah.
That was the
That's
same
it.
week.
That seems like more than a
It
week
seemed,
ago.
Yeah, it seems like so long ago.
Tell me about it.
We went to Jasper Mountain, the wellness center.
Yep.
Shout out to Chad Brown, who's on the show a few weeks ago. But he has
I love
yoga
you,
classes. He has weekly yoga classes there that we've gone to every week since he's been on the show. And Penn Johnson was actually there last week, and we had a really good time. You played some music for everybody. and it was just really good.
You're also
vibes.
way better at yoga than we are.
Way better at yoga, dude.
I was
You can't be
struggling.
better at yoga, man. It's a practice. You're constantly
Contest.
practicing.
I feel like making yoga into a contest is absolutely
That's really-
the opposite
Yeah.
of what you're supposed
That's
to
the
do with yoga.
westernization of yoga, man.
Wow.
That's a good point.
That's sort
It's
of.
gonna be a good show.
I clearly need to go to more yoga classes.
I'm just physically unfit, you know. I just
You'll
can't.
get there. It's a
I'm just trying to
practice.
hold there was this one pose where you have to like take your your hands like backwards. Like I can't do that. My wrists feel like they're gonna snap out
Chad's
from
just
under
like,
me.
all right, we're gonna be on our hands and knees, and then take your hand and do this.
Yeah, it's like this is a punishment. I'm not relaxed.
Torture
at
at the
all.
Jasper Wellness Center. No, it's great there. We've gone so much, and it's just been such a good time. It's been so relaxing.
Yeah.
The view every week is incredible.
You just posted a
Dude,
picture on Instagram
again.
of the sunset of last
It's
week.
a
It was
banger.
super crazy. I didn't think so many colors could be in a. I feel like it's the location. Like Jasper Mountain just has this way of giving us good sunsets.
Or like it just knows Chad's there. And
Just
he's
knows
like, oh, this
Chad's
is for
there.
Chad.
This one's for Chad. Chad.
Shout out to the sun.
We should get the sun on the show. We
should.
Be good. It feels like the sun's on the show right
That's
now.
a good segue into psychedelics.
That's a really good segue into
So
that.
Penn,
Have you ever felt like you were on the sun?
Yeah, man, like 20 minutes ago, it's like 95 degrees
Yeah,
right now.
It does.
It's very hot.
It
It's
does
very
feel
hot
like
in this
that.
attic. So.
To go closer to the sun.
right? That's a good point.
Oh, man,
Right,
shout out to
higher
Slightly
elevation.
Stupid.
Yeah.
Closer to the sun.
You got your
Is that a
chest
jab at
blowing
me?
up.
It's probably like Chad.
Chad
probably like,
posting over. No, Chad is in there. I can see.
Yeah,
him.
Chad.
Shout out to Chad Brown.
Shout out to Chad Brown, Yoga and Sound.
Chad
People like,
Brown,
who
yeah.
is this guy? He's got
Oh,
weird
we got. Hang
things
on.
going on.
We got the stickers also from Live at 13. So that we copped
Bob
from all the.
Mahoney. What's
from
that
all
They were
one?
not.
Waymaker.
Waymaker was not there.
Waymaker was
Okay.
not.
I heard good things though.
But I heard good. Yeah. No, Waymaker was there. I think.
Oh, I just saw
but
that.
They didn't
I
play.
just saw that sticker in
I'm
the
pretty
studio
sure.
where I'm recording.
Yes.
Is
pretty
it
sure.
Shards, right?
Yeah,
They also record there.
Shard. Shout out to Shard
Nice.
Studio.
Yeah, shout out to Matt
Matt.
Mulchani.
Yep.
You
We
were
have to
the
go
shit,
there.
dude. I'm so excited to drop that track, Burn a Little Sage. It's gonna blow minds.
That's the name. That's a pretty sick.
You heard it
Burn
first.
minds and spirits, and it's gonna be great. It's gonna be really cool. Yeah, I just actually got the recording this morning. Matt texted me at 11. He was like, "I'll be home in 30 minutes," and he texted me at 1:30. I was sleeping. He texted me at 1:30 and was like, "Yeah, I just got to it. I got back and had put on my headphones and like did these extra things." And I was like, "Go to sleep, dude. Like fucking get some sleep, man. You gotta chill." And he'd send it, and then I listened to it this morning and cried. It's really,
Nice.
it's
In a good way though, right?
it's yeah, it's unlike anything I've ever released. So, and I've sent it to probably 10 or 15 of my really close friends, and they've all been like, "Dude."
Were you not expecting the finished product to sound that good? Like after you had given it to him to work his mojo, or
Well, we sort of, I recorded in Dallas. I don't remember when. Time is
Who cares?
an illusion.
Yeah,
It happened before now.
Time doesn't
Time is a-
exist. Clocks
it's a
exist.
concept.
Shout out to Nako Bear. He said that.
shout out to clocks.
Shout out to clocks.
Thanks for telling the time.
Anyway, so I recorded in Dallas. I don't know when, and it felt kind of forced and like not super there. And we were going over everything yesterday, and then I was like, screw it, I'm just gonna redo the vocals.
Yeah.
So I redid the vocals, and it just sounds like so, on point and so natural. And it's just it's really coming together. And I'm working on a 4-song EP right now. And it's all gonna be really great. One song that I released a little while ago that people have really still been asking me to play at shows. I'm not gonna tell you which one it is, but it has to do with growing trees and planting movements. Planting movement.
It's your song, man.
Shout out to my dad for giving me dyslexia.
Is that genetic?
Shout out to dads everywhere.
Is dyslexia
Is
genetic?
dyslexia
I
genetic?
think so.
No, he handed it to me. It was a
That makes sense.
What a prick.
Christmas is hard at my house.
He's like, here you go. And you're like, what does that say?
You can only get so far with Cole. You piss the man off enough, you're just going to get something worse.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, it was a hard Christmas last year.
He gave this to you last year?
No, I don't know when it was. Ages ago. I don't remember. Time doesn't exist. Clocks
Remember?
exist. We went over that.
Yeah.
Shout out to
Yeah.
clocks.
Shout out to clocks.
You're working every second.
But
dude.
yeah, man, take a break, clocks. Like, what have you been on the clock forever?
Just clock out.
You gotta get off that.
Come on, dude.
Shout out to puns. We're done. Okay, I won't say shout out one more time.
Next person to say shout out getting ejected.
Ejaculated.
Shout out to referees.
And we've come full circle. Here we go. Yeah, so I'm working on this EP. It's going to be 4 or 5 tracks, and I'm really excited to release it. I've got some really cool people who have given this. I've done this little Barefoot Vandit CD compilation of the journey so far. Shout out to my handwriting.
I love that name, by the way.
Yeah.
Barefoot Vandit.
It just came to me at some point. And I encourage everybody who gets it, if you get it at a show or wherever, you can't get it anywhere else because if you text me, I'll just be like, anxiety. But if you come to a show and you grab one, I encourage you to burn it for, I'd pretty much say burn it for everybody you've ever met. Because, you know,
You got to get that music out.
as
there.
always, the music is the message, and that's makes the movement move. So I'm
the most
not
important thing.
super interested in money. I've been blessed with some abundance from a great winter down in Florida, playing for people who probably didn't understand what the hell I was saying, but definitely tipped me well. So I've sort of been okay with giving a decent amount of these away and selling a few, and you know, it's sort of the give and take of the music business. When you're sort of starting out. So it's been really fun to get reactions from people, and people will text me or message me on Instagram and be like, dude, the CD, blah, blah, like it's so good. And I'm like, oh man, you know, it just means a lot to hear kind words like that. You know, it sort of reminds you why you keep doing something like this.
I think that's like the most major compensation, you know, that you could get is like, I mean, monetary only goes so far, but to just have people love the thing that you're
Especially
doing so
early
much.
on.
Yeah, and
It snowballs.
It goes such a longer way, you know, to have people be that into what you're doing, you know.
Now,
Yeah.
for the people who don't know any better, explain the Barefoot Vandit thing.
Oh yeah, I write a lot of things, and it just came to me one day. I was like, I live in a van and I'm barefoot all the time, and I was like, I'm a barefoot bandit. Then I was like, wait a second, I'm a barefoot bandit. And then I just started writing it on one CD, and then I wrote it on another one, and people were like, hey, Barefoot Vandit, that sounds cool. And I was like, cool, I'll write it on 100 more CDs. And
That's a really interesting way to QA test that.
I actually sold about 120 CDs in the first 2 weeks.
Wow. Holy
So,
crap.
yeah, at festivals and shows and open mics and stuff like that, and I just mentioned I have it, and people are like, oh man, I want a CD, and it's cool. You're just like, yeah, it's $10, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Helps me get from place to place. And people have been really loving it. It's got some live tracks from shows that I opened for Bumpin' Uglies. Shout out to Brandon Hardesty if you're watching. We're almost done with shout outs, maybe. But Brandon really did give me an opening, you know, in Jacksonville, and I have him to thank for a few of these songs on here because they wouldn't have been recorded otherwise. So I opened for Bumpin' Uglies at Jack's Live in Jacksonville, Jack Rabbits, whatever it's called, and I recorded. Shout out to Jack and Jill went up the hill, and we're gonna have a lot of sidetracks here.
It's my favorite
It's
movie.
the poorly edited podcast, and I'm like the perfect guest. For
Thank
that.
you for catching on so quickly. I appreciate it.
And
It's funny when guests take it seriously and they're like, what are you doing?
They're like all nervous.
right. So we got like 3 or 4 tracks that were live recorded. I did 2 analog tracks in Tunkhannock, Pennsylvania.
Oh, yeah.
That I'm actually I'm headed back to Tunkhannock. What day is it? Monday. In 2 days to go record more. With Mike Chafin up there and my friend Jessica Oluzzi, who sort of, great segue, she sort of introduced me to the music of Todd Snyder, who inspired me to hit the road. I saw him at Sellersville Theater last minute. She was like, she came home from work and was like, we're going to see Todd Snyder at the Sellersville Theater. And I was like, what? And she had this big poster of him on her.
I grew up right around that area. Are you
Really?
familiar?
No, not at all. I was there for 2 hours.
I just figured I'd ask. I don't recommend going there. I'm just saying.
But
Do you
it was
know Todd
really...
Snyder?
No, it's a shame. Shout out to Todd Snyder and Brian, wherever you guys are at. But I went and listened to him, and I was like, well, shit, I could do that stuff. That sounds cool, you know? And he had these great stories and told stories while he played and all that stuff, and I've sort of been doing a little bit of that, or a lot, depending on which show
So
you
you're
go
saying
to.
like that show that you watched from him was like you were there and you're like,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah, I
it.
mean, I
That's it.
basically... I lived in Northeast Pennsylvania. opposing shale gas fracking with a nonprofit. And I noticed that more people were listening when I was playing guitar, and that was sort of the only thing that would give me more of an outlet to express myself and release tension than yoga or meditation. It was the only other thing. And I've started writing every day, and I've been writing for a little over a decade. I graduated with a degree in creative writing and environmental studies as soon as I heard what fracking was, and have since moved to be on the front lines a fair amount. And I've played for the Water Protectors in Flint, Michigan. I've played in Pennsylvania. I've played in DC. I played in New York. Had my guitar on me for like 17 hours at the what was it, March for the Climate, like the really big one, with 400,000 people. That was really cool, and just some of the people I've met in the movement have really inspired me and helped me sort of grow. And I moved a little bit away from that to focus more on mindfulness and reaching people where they're at, and realizing that not everybody's going to get what I'm saying right off the bat, and especially with some of the songs that I write, they're like, some people buy a CD because they're literally like, I didn't hear all the words you said, I need... So I'm like, all right.
Sure. I feel like anytime I listen to a song for the first time, I always miss a bunch of words.
Yeah.
I don't listen to lyrics the first time around often. I just sort of take it all in, melody in particular.
Yeah.
But that's just me.
But it's a lot of people. A lot of people are like that, and that's why I've sort of been. I mean, you guys were there. I don't know if Chad was playing when we did our thing.
A little bit, yeah.
He was playing a little bit on the mandolin.
We've been doing a thing together for sure that's sort of more jammy.
Yeah.
And I give him. I'm learning more and more that music is a conversation.
Yep.
Much like we're having right now, and letting everyone have their space to speak is super important.
And you can
Plus,
have,
it eliminates the ego.
Yeah.
Immediately. Once everybody's got their fill of, spotlight for 5 seconds. Okay, back to Penn.
Right.
It's like, or back to whoever. It's giving all of the people in your band a chance to speak, essentially.
I think that's the one thing that people who haven't been in that sort of situation don't quite understand, that it is a conversation. You can have two people that are great at playing their instruments, but that doesn't necessarily mean they're going to drive off each other well.
For
Just
sure.
like you can have two people who are fine at talking, but that doesn't mean they're going to be friends.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's a crazy sentiment, actually.
It's
Yeah.
weird.
Yeah.
But it's very true. And so back to the CD, I guess. Some of the tracks, there's one track from my first record called Sprouts, and there's one track from my second record. The first record's called For the Trees, and it's since been discontinued. It's not available anywhere unless you support me directly on Patreon, which is definitely another segue to talk about in a bit. But there's another track from my second record, Experiencing Turbulence, called Another Year, that also isn't available anymore. But I wrote that song when I heard that Bernie Sanders was running for the presidency, and I played it at one of his rallies in Manchester, New Hampshire.
Really?
And this guy came up to me with his face painted like a tiger, and he said, "Oh my God, Penn Johnson, I have your record next to my bedstand." And I said, "That's a weird way to introduce yourself. Also, why is your face painted like a tiger?"
Is this all true?
Yes.
Bernie
No, he's
Sanders
making
lied?
all of this up.
Everything
Sanders did run for president.
I say,
Bernie Sanders ran for president.
Do you have any
every-
idea how excited I am about
everything
this right
I
now?
try to say, everything I say, I do my best to be true and honest in everything I
that's
say. So a lot of people write songs about fictional situations. I haven't really written a lot of songs about that. I write from a lot of personal experience. Everything I've been through, all the lyrics that flow through me are from situations or stories or things people tell me or pieces of wisdom I pick up.
You're a non-fiction storyteller.
Yeah.
Songwriter.
Well, I
That's what
just
meant to say.
I wrote this song the other day. I was on my yoga mat and I was like, I'm gonna stay here until I'm at peace. And then I was like,
Is that a good way to do that?
no, no, it's
so.
not.
I'm gonna force peace.
Back to timing. So I was there, and I think sort of, it's interesting because yoga opens up channels. That's what it's meant to do. It's meant to let spirit flow through you and through breath work and all that stuff and understanding all that.
That's what I've noticed in particular. Not getting you to a specific place, but just sort of opening the
Just
way.
getting you to right here.
Yeah.
And shout out to Alan Watts for blowing my mind.
Alan Watts is great.
He's nuts, dude.
He's insane.
And but I started writing this little thing a couple days before, I guess, and it was about sunflowers, and it was terrible. It was awful, horrendous, so bad. I started writing this thing today, and I was like, blah, 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 blah. I was like, this is bad. We're just done. We're done writing today.
I love that. Where it's like, this is like the entire time you're doing it, like this is great, and then at a certain point you're like, wait a second.
You gotta, yeah, I mean, you sort of know. Yeah, you're like, nope, this is not.
Yeah.
This isn't where I thought it was.
Well, it feels
Yeah.
different. You know when you're onto something.
Yeah, and so I wrote this song. I think I titled it Third Eye Visions because it's not theoretically a song, it's more of an invocation. So I've written a couple of these now. The first one's called Invocation. And the second one is called Third Eye Visions. And there's a line in the song, this goes back to like the whole writing about wisdom I learned and stuff like that. There's a line in the song that says, our hearts remember the rhythm of each other's beat. You know, and that's a piece of wisdom that I learned from someone, and it was actually mentioned at the Yoga Fest, was that yesterday? 2 days ago. And it was cool because I looked at Chad, and Chad was like, dude, the lyric, you know, and it's sort of riding this whole wave of synchronicity and understanding that everything's just coming together, you know, in perfect time.
Yeah.
And being here now is a huge part of that. And it's sort of like we work our whole lives, or we do something our whole lives to like be okay. And then you like okay's like here, and you're always like here, like trying to catch up. It's like the kid in gym class, it's like wicked dank, and you're just like suck, and you're just back here. Even if you're really good, there's always someone who's like 10 times better than you.
There's always going to be someone that's better than
you know, right?
Yeah.
So you're back
Except
here,
for one
and
guy.
okay is always right here. So you're like, oh, I'm gonna be okay soon, and then okay just keeps getting further and farther and farther ahead. So you never really reach this state of liberation or peace, and it's just like being here, you know, is the answer.
That's
Just
exactly
being
that's
present,
the point.
you know?
Instead
Is
of
that you're
moving
never
your-
going to
yeah.
get there, so you have to be okay with being here in order to ever.
It's like
feel
instead
okay.
of moving to something, you just move, like, I don't know. That's like a really interesting solution where you just move it towards you instead. Where it's like, I don't know, the
Yeah,
bar
you're
is
like,
too
okay,
hot.
come here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just snag okay.
Snag okay. The camera shut off.
We got it back. We got 2 cameras.
We recovered it.
We had 6 cameras.
We had 6
Oh
cameras.
my god, everybody!
I think that's the most cameras we've ever had on it.
Cut to camera 2. I'm just kidding. But yeah, so
Cut the No, sorry.
you've done a lot
Wait.
of traveling. Clap synced. You've done a lot of traveling. You've mentioned about 1,600 places just in the span of us recording now. Like,
Really? Oh, man.
where have been some of the coolest places you've been? What are some of the highlights? Are there any places you want to go really bad?
Yeah, Hawaii. I'm coming to Hawaii. Whoever's watching, get me to Hawaii. I'm trying to tour there. I'm not trying. I'm manifesting a tour in Hawaii. Paul Isaac, if you're watching, I'll see you soon. My friend Paul Isaac and Kelly have a farm, and they farm turmeric and a whole bunch of other great
That
stuff.
sounds like
Yeah.
a life.
It's great.
Except for the volcanic activity and the missile threats, but
Yeah,
Other
and
than
crazy
that.
stuff. You know, protect Mauna Kea. Always, you know, water is life. We got any other shout outs?
shout out to
Air's
water.
good. Air's good.
Water's
Air.
Shout out to
water's great.
music. Music's good.
Music's
I'm
good.
a big fan.
Oh,
Josh
traveling. Okay, right. So in 2015, I hit the road. I broke up with an ex-girlfriend, current lover. Sorry for announcing that live on the internet. And I was north of Boston in a small town, and my friend had always been like, the next place to go is Texas, and I was like, all right, let's go.
Is
Austin.
that a saying?
I was like, I'm gonna go to Austin to be a songwriter. That's really hard. If you're thinking of going to Austin, Texas to be a songwriter, I mean, I'm not gonna say it worked for me because like it didn't, but it also was a great experience. So maybe, you know, if you're gonna go to Austin to be a songwriter, knock your heart out, you know, play your heart out, kid. Just know that someone's gonna do whatever you're doing in Austin, Texas for way cheaper
And better.
and probably better. Yeah.
And that's okay.
So I went to Austin. I went to Dallas. I didn't have anywhere else to go after that. I was like, I'm gonna go to Austin. And then my friend in Dallas was like, where are you gonna go? And I was like, I don't know yet. She was like, aren't you leaving like tomorrow? And I was like, yeah. And shout out to preparation. So I was down in Austin, and I was there for about 9 months, just surfing on couches and going to festivals and playing music from around campfires and stuff like that, and doing open mics and playing a few gigs. And learning, you know, a lot about songwriting from people who were, you know, been writing for the Dixie Chicks, and, you know, people who knew Towns Van Zandt and Guy Clark, and, you know, they're telling me, they're like, I hear this music in you, and I'm like, well, this is crazy, you know, because Townes Van Zant's like really big influence in the writing that flows through me for sure. And I was there for 9 months, and then I was living in a Prius C, sort of. I was living with this guy, Daniel. Shout out to Daniel, I love you, wherever you're at. You're probably not watching because you don't do internet much. But I was living with this guy, Daniel, and he was like, you can live here for 3 months, and then I have to kick you out. And I was like, I understand. And then I didn't get a job after 3 months because I don't believe in jobs.
That would stop you from getting one.
Right.
And
so I went from there to sort of just couch surfing all over the place and staying with awesome people and terrible people and everything in between. So it was a really interesting experience. In June of last year, right, I got a van. So this was 2016 I went. I'm sorry, 2016. Time is an illusion. Time doesn't exist. Clocks exist.
Shout out to clocks.
Shout out to clocks.
Always tell them time.
And so that was 2016, 27, and then in June of last year, I got a van, and I hit the road with my guitarist, Jude Kinser, wherever you're at. I love you, Jude.
Shout out to Jude.
He was just in a really bad car accident, so we're sending him love and positive vibrations to him and Jenny for sure. And we hit the road and hit a bunch of festivals and met up with some crazy cats. And just fested out hard. And stayed in Asheville for a bit. Had no money. I drove in August of last year from Asheville to Ohio with $34 in my pocket, $5 in my bank account, to a festival called Resonance, where I met my friend Dakota. I love you, Dakota. Shout out to Dakota and the trip always. And congrats on playing the Workout Festival. It's gonna be great if anybody's around for the Workout Festival. Dakota and the trip are gonna be there. And just meeting a whole bunch of people at these festivals, you know, and connecting all these dots. And after that, I had to get money from my brother to play this next gig in Cleveland for gas money because I had no money. And since then, it's sort of just been this forward spiral, you know, in a really good way. And people have been really supportive and helping out. And I've got a couple people helping me with booking stuff and promotion and all that, and they're like, we're gonna do this right, and they're, you know, having all these talks, and they want me to talk, and I'm like, I don't know what's going on. You guys know way better than I do. All I know is how to play the guitar, kind of, and write songs, for what that's worth. So it's just been really cool to have that experience. But as far as travel, it's sort of been all over, you know. I was in Florida for a bit, for about 4 months, playing down there all over the place, and St. Pete is a great place. I really recommend people get to St. Petersburg, Florida. There's a lot of really conscious people there who really care about the land. The St. Pete Eco Village, my friends Alex Landry, and Anthony Pagliano. I don't know if that's how you say your last name, but I tried. And Asheville, North Carolina is beautiful. I definitely want to spend more time in Asheville. Nashville's fun if you avoid Broadway. Kind of like Austin if you avoid 6th Street. Like, there are aspects of some of these places that you're like, oh yeah, Austin, Texas, 6th Street, oh, Nashville, Broadway, yeah. Mm-hmm. You listen to every Jimmy Buffett cover in the course of like 20 minutes. You go bar to bar and they're each doing different Jimmy Buffett covers. You're like, how do I get out of this? I love Jimmy Buffett. Shout out to Jimmy Buffett.
If you're listening, Jimmy Buffett.
Jimmy Buffett also gave Todd Snyder his start.
It's
dude, it's all. This is big. The circle is forming. We got it. The circle will be unbroken. You guys have heard that song, right?
The Circle of Life?
No, different song. Lion King? Shout out to Lion King.
Shout out to my next question. So, as like, how do you get through driving to place to place? Like, I can't imagine you're just sitting there and just turning the dial.
Chocolate and podcasts. Shout out to Joe Rogan, like for real though, because you drop mad knowledge.
Joe Rogan's lit.
Joe Rogan, Duncan Trussell, some of these great, you know, podcasters just drop so much wisdom and have these great guests, and you're always like, you know, segue to psychedelics. You're always like, I learned so much from all these experiences, and then you're like, I know absolutely nothing, you know, and it's crazy to just have wisdom dropped on you constantly. So a lot of that. Not a whole lot of music on long drives. I feel like music sort of puts me to sleep.
Yeah.
I'd much rather listen to podcasts and stuff.
It keeps you thinking.
Podcasts also like make me laugh. Music doesn't make me laugh, and like laughing keeps you awake.
Yeah. It's also a nice like progression because the song's like 3 minutes long, so you listen to tons of songs on the way to there. But if it's like a 5-hour drive, you're like, I have 5 podcasts lined up.
And one of them should be the poorly edited podcast. We'll keep you up.
Yeah, you know, I mean, if you ever want like a lesser experience than what you're used to,
Joe Rogan's making me think too hard.
37-hour-long episodes before this one, so.
I'm gonna listen to all of them.
Okay.
I'm gonna do
Or you
it.
can just listen to your own a bunch if you want.
Yeah.
Whatever you're feeling.
I'll just listen to the one of myself 37
Well,
times.
that and Chad, you can just go back and forth.
Yeah.
It's just a playlist that.
So a lot of traveling, yeah. I've sort of gained this. It's kind of funny because I go places and people are like, where are you from? And I'm like, I'm kind of from everywhere. And they're like, what do you mean? And I'm like, well, let me tell you a story. And it starts all over at the beginning. So it's really cool. But even playing with people who tour all the time, like Bumpin' Uglies and Joey Harcum and some of these bigger bands, Ayaterra and stuff, they're all like, dude, you're traveling nonstop. And I'm like, that's crazy. Yeah, I went to a festival called Karma Fest a little while back. And then from there, I was at Karma Fest. This is how it went. Showed up, Karma Fest, fill up your water bottle. Go, blah, blah, blah. Hang out for 5 minutes. Eat some Indian food. Go play. Talk to people. Give hugs. Get Instagram accounts. High five. Leave. Drive to Virginia, So it's like, sometimes it's like 5 hours in the road, and then it's like 2-hour break. Do something. Meet way too many people to actually have a conversation.
All at once.
Leave right after that,
Yeah.
And I'm getting better about spacing stuff out, planning a lot more well-promoted shows and less of them, so I can focus more on writing and stuff like. And that's the best thing about having other people book and promote and stuff is I can focus on writing, and that's what I want to do. And my friend Matt Link says my pen never runs out of ink. I never run out of ink, so kind of like a little haha. And
Such a meme.
but yeah,
It seems
that just hit Zach like.
So I just had an idea saying that you have to like tell people your story all along. Why don't you just make it a song you just keep adding to?
Well,
Oh, jeez.
that's hard. I have a couple songs that sort of tell the story to a degree, but they only tell it so much.
Yeah.
And the song's only so good. The songs keep getting more and more. They keep progressing. I keep learning more as a storyteller and how to engage people and talk. And I've done interviews where I've just been like, blah blah blah, and then it's like 20 minutes of useless. And then it's like, oh, cool. Now we're getting to something that makes sense. So it's cool to be able to channel that stuff all the time and just sort of live my life and know that people give a shit, about what I have to say. And I've inspired my friend texted me the other day. He's like, you inspired me to quit my job and open a studio. My other friend was like, you inspired me to get a van and start traveling, And I just get messages from a whole bunch of people that are just like, you inspire me, you inspire me, you inspire me. And I'm like, just like so humbled and grateful for that, because that means more than any amount of, money in the world. So it's so cool. And it's all sort of coming together at a time when I was really getting into a bad place with, abusing psychedelics. And that's one thing that if you're going to get into the practice of psychedelics and plant medicine, be careful, because you can get really out there and it's hard to come back, and some people don't. And I actually, I haven't drank in 8 months. I don't really smoke a whole lot of ganja. I did write a song on here called Marijuana that's really popular, and I play it all the time, and people offer me, and I'm just like, I haven't actually been smoking for a while. So it's kind of weird to have a song called Marijuana that's like, pass it up to me, and then it's like, by the way, I don't smoke right now.
Please don't actually.
People like, they're like, what? I'm thinking of doing a series on YouTube. Yeah, right? Thinking of doing a series on YouTube where it's just like people like hitting blunts and asking questions like that. Like, but is Oscar the Grouch really just like a huge nug though? Just like stuff like, just stuff like that you would say mid-blunt. It's just funny. I have these ideas. I don't have any way to put them into action because I have way too much stuff on my plate as it is.
Yeah.
Oh, you're so excited about it. You don't have time to exhale. You're like, this needs to be on this breath.
Yeah, it needs to happen right now.
Yeah, it's all in the. I was an actor first and foremost,
Really?
Yeah, I acted for about a decade before I started playing music, and my biggest role was Mark Cohen in Rent.
Oh wow.
Rent's a classic.
Yeah, it was really, really fun. And that sort of, being on stage and all that stuff. And obviously like the attention's great, but just being able to share the story and having people listen, you know, I got middle child syndrome for days. You know, always looking to be in the spotlight. But like I said, with the music and conversation thing and playing with other people, it's really learning to step back and listen a whole lot more to what people are actually saying, and not being on my phone when I'm talking to people. I'm working on that, you know, and it's hard because people, you know, are messaging me and I'm doing all these things, and like everybody's going through that. But
It's a big thing for me as well.
yeah, it's like hanging out with people and just being able to like have an actual conversation. And Chad brings that up a lot. You know, he's like, you write all these conscious songs and you're like, you know, you're working on being more present. It's great, but like you need to be more present.
If I see Chad on his phone, I'm like, something wrong.
Yeah, it's so weird to see him on
Like
his
right
phone.
after you performed last week, he was like, clearly taking a serious phone call, and I'm like,
Yeah.
Chad's been on his phone like 4 times the entire time that I'm known since like November, and I've seen him on his phone like 4 times. It's all been in the past week. So I know Chad's going through a rough time. So I love you, Chad. You know, we'll get through it. We'll get through it together, buddy. I don't know who that was. Channeled some weird
General
thing.
South, yeah. General South.
General Tso's chicken.
General Tso's.
Vegan chicken. So plant-based diet, right? So I live in this van. I eat a plant-based diet. A lot of bananas.
How do you manage?
Big shout out to bananas.
They're not indigenous.
This is very important.
There.
There are 800 varieties. I'm looking at all the cameras. There are 800 varieties of bananas
Really?
in Papua New Guinea. So whoever's down to go,
Really?
hit me up and let's do it. Because I'm trying to try all of them.
Dude, that'd be quite the trip.
That'd be-
What?
Like a banana travel vlog.
a blog.
It's a banana blog. It's a banana.
All right, we're done.
So how
Yeah,
do you juggle living in a van and just
And
like
I suck at juggling.
And living.
And
pretty
living,
much.
like,
how do you
eating-
juggle living in a van and
staying
living?
so
Yeah, for a
straight
lot of
edge on
people,
your
just
diet?
one of these things
Yeah,
is
it's
very
too
difficult.
much.
And
Yeah.
you're tackling
Yeah.
a lot, dude.
You're doing it all.
Well,
at
as
once.
first as soon as I heard that, you know, I probably heard from someone that eating meat was bad for you or something, and I'm like, I'll jump so fast. I'm like, oh, eating meat's bad. So I went from 3 Philly cheesesteaks to vegan the next day.
Really?
Yeah, I was just like, oh, Philly chicken.
Was this conversation over Philly cheese? I was like, dude, meat's terrible for you.
No, thank
So
you.
what was the thing someone said or the thing you heard that you're like, okay, well then
I think
stop.
I watched. I'm gonna be honest with you, man. I think I watched Food Inc.
Okay.
And that happened- my sister did the same thing.
Yeah,
She's
but there are
vegetarian
way
now.
better documentaries out there, you know. And there's so many people doing great work. James Aspie, I met him. He's like a really great vegan activist. And there's just so many different layers to everything. You know, it's hard to find your own truth. And when it comes down to it, you know, especially for Native American folks and Native people, and, you know, meat's a big part of their culture, or it has been. And, you know, I'm not stepping in the way of spirit and
No.
none of that. Nope.
Yeah.
I would have none of that. I'm not going to get in the way of anything. You know, tobacco is sacred. If you're going to smoke tobacco and it's a sacred practice, like, you do you, you know? I just personally, for my body, like, every time I have meat, it's bad news bears.
Yeah.
So I just, you know, and love bananas.
Oh yeah, dude.
And the more meat I eat, the less bananas I can eat. So I was
true.
like,
That's a good
benefit
point.
cost analysis.
That's a good point.
I think
Shout
Bananas
out
are
to
way-
junior year economics for the first time ever in my life.
Bananas are way cheaper than meat.
Oh yeah.
Way
for sure.
cheaper. Bananas are cheap. Yeah, that's great.
I'm always amazed. I work at a grocery store and somebody comes in with like a ton of bananas.
Like
I'm
a million
this is-
bananas.
This is
I'd be
only like $5. How did this
$2.49,
happen?
please?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude,
Like
I've walked
little-
I've walked out of grocery stores with like 60 to 80 bananas at a time. People are like,
How are you gonna eat all those bananas?
You gotta be
Do you have
careful
a
about
monkey?
that.
yeah,
Do you?
Too much
It's a-
potassium.
too
You'll
much
get
potassium.
I thought you would. That's a ton of bananas to get
lot
potassium
of-
poisoning, though, isn't it? It's like a ton in a very compressed.
well, I'm
They
not eating.
have-
I'm not eating 80 bananas
Well, yeah,
a
yeah.
day.
yeah, for like every meal.
You go
There's
between
someone
gr-
on Instagram who does Banana Girl or something like that. Eats like 56 bananas a day. That's like a thing.
Shout out to bananas.
Pen, can you just mention that your phone's being propped up by a Minions cup? Does anyone get that reference?
I don't
They're
get
like
it.
all about Minions. Okay. There's like
Oh, they're
little-
yellow. All right.
No, they're
Right, yeah, they are yellow.
Minions are
like
yellow.
bananas.
Also, bananas are
They're
yellow.
shaped like bananas. I get
a whole
it.
year where every banana you bought had a minion on it.
That's true.
Oh, that's still happening.
That's still happening.
That's still happening.
Yeah.
That's true. Shout out to Minions.
I think the
Can we track that shot?
something that I feel like something a lot of
Wait,
people,
hold on. We got it. All right, go.
something I think a lot of people overlook is like the reasons people go vegan, the reason people change their diets, and I think like environmentalism comes down to like a huge portion of it,
Hugely.
and people
Yep.
don't think about.
They
that
just
at
soar
all.
right over it. They're
Also,
like,
Yeah, it's
I
just
love when
kind
people
of
are
a-
like, "Oh, vegan, that sounds so hard. I don't know how I'd be able to do it." And like, that's probably why you're not doing it.
Right.
it's
If you
really, and
think
it's
too
not,
hard,
man. Like
don't
you
know.
mentioned, how do you do this stuff? Being on the road, being in a van, doing all this stuff, and it just comes down to being devoted.
Yeah.
You know.
Discipline.
You gotta believe in what you're doing. You
Yeah.
know, anyone who does, you can't make someone who doesn't care about the environment or doesn't care about the things that they're consuming go vegan. You know, like it's.
We can't make anybody.
We can't make
anybody do anything.
Yeah, honestly.
Let's be,
Yeah.
clear on that, because a lot of people be like, "Oh, well, you like post these things that are like really preachy," and I'm like, "Dude, I'm just saying what." Most
You're
of the
just-
time,
yeah.
when I'm posting stuff, it's messages to myself.
Right.
I'm just sharing it with the world because people are like, "Oh man, that like makes a lot of sense." I'm like, "Hey, all right, cool, that's awesome that you think that," you know. And I guess that's one of the other things is treading the line between, sharing wisdom and preaching, because a lot of
Yeah.
people, get really turned off by that. And I make it abundantly clear, or at least I do my best to make it abundantly clear, that these are lessons that are flowing through me from some divine creation. I'm just the messenger. And it's like the best case of don't shoot the messenger, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's also like people get sometimes they get like annoyed when being preachy and it like doesn't apply to them.
Yeah.
And they take like offense to that for
And
some
it's like,
reason.
I'm
It's
not-
like, well,
this
just
isn't
keep
direct,
going.
just
Like,
don't
why? I
listen.
don't. Yeah.
Well, you got to meet people where they're at, and that's like the other
Yeah.
thing is,
Yeah.
and that's the huge thing that's been coming back, like again and again and again and again, because I'm like on the road all the time, and people are driving terribly. They're like, "Why'd you I'm like, why'd you cut me off? And why do people do this?" And I took a turn I was going straight the other day, and someone merged on, and I was like, why did you do that? And then like 30 seconds later, I was like, and why am I still angry about it?
Yeah.
Because there's this great.
Past.
There's this great, I don't know what it's called, pronoun, proverb.
Proverb,
It's not
yeah.
a pronoun. Shout out to pronouns.
He, she, it.
It's a
to name a few.
I think it's a Buddhist proverb, and it's like these two monks.
Uh-huh.
Are they monks?
Sounds
Yes.
Buddhist.
They're walking along this road, and there's this woman in this dress, and she's trying to cross the road, and the monks aren't supposed to touch women. And the one monk picks up this woman on one side and puts her down on the other side, and they're walking. And like 2 hours later, the second monk is like, "Why did you? I just don't understand why you did that. You picked up that woman. We're not supposed to touch women." And the monk is like, "Hold my beer."
He said that.
No,
It's wild.
no.
Wow.
That's
You're
the
making
end of it.
popular references. He's like,
keep it current for the
I
kids."
put that woman down 2 hours ago. You're still holding on to her.
Boom.
Wow.
That's true.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
So it's like that
That's
every
crazy.
day, and like every time I think of that, I'm like, oh man, like that's it, And I think that's where that first one came from. It's just
It's always-
I thought that to
yeah.
myself.
Can we
and then
apply
I was-
that logic if I would rob a bank and then the cops come
Not the same, I
5
think.
hours later at my
let's-
house?
we
and
should-
You're
I
still
robbed
holding
that
it.
bank 5 hours ago.
Disclaimer.
And you're still.
Disclaimer: don't care enough money about to rob a bank. I don't care enough money.
Not that I wouldn't rob a bank. I just don't care about what they have.
I'm still holding the money. You're still holding the bank.
I have all the
Placing
money
you
now.
under arrest.
I've always, whenever I'm explaining to someone why I'm annoyed about something, halfway through I'm like, this is stupid. I should
it's
just
stupid.
stop. Yeah, it's not worth
It's
it.
And that's
bothering
part of
me
it.
More now.
We're being shown a banana dog.
It's a
Well,
banana dog.
I can't go with my glasses on.
Is that a new breed? You have glasses.
Yeah. I
Shout out
had
to
contacts
glasses.
for the long.
Shut the corrective lenses.
I had contacts for the longest time, and then it was too expensive, so I
Yeah.
just got a pair of
Seeing
prescription
is very
sunglasses
expensive.
and glasses. And then when it's sunny, I'm like shoot, and when it's not sunny, I'm like shoot. It's great with a shoot every time.
Every time.
Like if
I
I'm in a
do
shoot-
like the sound effects you added.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I'm at a
Excites me.
stoplight, my window's open, I'm like shoot. The person next to me is like, what the f was that?
So, what's
Are you on your
next?
phone right now?
I'm looking at
Can you stay in the
I'm looking at the
conversation,
script
please?
for the show that we're doing.
It's
on my
2018.
phone.
It's
We were going
2018,
paperless.
people.
Because you said that, but when we met, we went to hand you our card, and you're like, "I'm going paperless. I don't really like."
I didn't say that. I say I don't take cards. Probably sounded like a dick, but
No.
yeah,
it
that's what
wasn't-
I meant. I'm
it
glad you
wasn't-
took it in
Maybe
a
a little bit.
I'm glad you took it in a non-offensive
It
way.
wasn't
'Cause I don't mean to
offensive
be
at all.
offensive
we
at all.
understood right away.
Yeah.
So it's also we have to keep the card that we were
Yeah.
going to give you, so we have
Yeah.
one more card. And
Exactly,
One
dude.
more
That's
card
what I'm
for
saying.
us.
Yeah,
It's
so
a
it's like-
great system. Save money on the cards.
Boom.
Cards full.
We get a card change.
That doesn't matter.
Me too.
My card's full.
Is it?
So, what's next for Penn Johnson? Where do you want to be in the near future, in the far future? What are the the
How far ahead do
goals.
you think usually? Like, is it like?
Doesn't seem very.
I mean, I don't-
far,
I don't-
just how
yeah, I
you-
mean-
it's very.
Like I said, I've
But
got,
you do have things scheduled.
yeah, I've got it's kind of funny because people are like, well, where are you going to be? And I'm like, actually, this is exactly where I'm going to be. You know, I'm really organized as far as that goes. I've got a Google spreadsheet that's really, you know, people are like, this date, like my cousin's getting married in August. I'm like, okay, need to be in Massachusetts for that, you know, book some shows around Massachusetts. So I just booked a show, yoga studio in Coventry, Rhode Island on the 23rd of August. So it's like knowing where I'm going to be and sort of setting up a couple shows, you know, but before I would be like, oh, I'm going to be here. Let's book 9 shows. And then it's like show to 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 show, you know, and you're like, you like show to the next show and you're like, oh, guys. You know, you're like, you get
Like,
so
here's my new
tired.
song, 15 minutes of silence while
While I breathe that.
While I take it. I'm gonna take all the breaths I didn't take in the last 5 hours.
So, because it's like a lot of bands I hear, they talk about being on the road and the road life, and that's you 24/7. Like you're on the road, pretty like that. That's
like
just
your
the state
residence,
you're
though.
in. Yeah. So
Yeah.
like, I feel like that must be a crazy. But for you, it's totally. You're like, okay. But
Yeah, it's kind of
to someone
people-
else, they'd be blown away.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. People are like, I don't know how you do it. I'm like, close the door and turn on the car. And
But you drove here, didn't you?
You drive to where you.
yeah, exactly. So, and I live in the van. I love the van. Van life is great. It's really amazing. And people are like, oh, we have a couch. Like, we have an extra bed. You don't need to stay in the van. I'm like, dude, I like the van. The van is home base. You know, like I love my bed. I love my privacy.
Yeah.
I love, you know, I'm a Scorpio with a Scorpio rising. Shout out to astrology.
Oh yeah.
Shout out to us.
I'm not,
And
I'm not
I
a
love,
Scorpio.
I love,
I'm a Virgo.
I'm a Pisces, right?
not a virgin, Virgo. All right,
Yeah,
moving
same
on.
thing.
It's kind of funny
Josh
because
just patted me on the shoulder for some reason.
we'll like, I have these. I was on Block Island.
What?
I was on Block Island in
Oh,
Rhode
okay.
Island.
What did you think he said?
You say Blog Island?
No,
Okay, that's what I thought
The
he said.
banana.
never
blog
want to be
vlog.
on Block
I'm like,
Island.
where is that?
Blog.
Banana Island, I can get behind. Let's book a flight ASAP. Skiplag.com, cheap flights. But
Okay. Okay.
Block Island. So I was on Block Island. I was playing for these younger kids, you know, 17, 18. Age is I don't really do the whole age thing. People are like, how old are you? I'm like 26 in this life, and they're like, in this life? They're like, how many lives have you been through? And I'm like, I don't do numbers very well. I'm very bad at math.
We have a numbers guy. That's fine.
Perfect.
Don't worry about it.
I'll have
You
to
can
talk to
handle
him.
it.
Yeah,
I failed algebra. High school.
that's okay.
But it's been
so I
an
was
hour.
on-
I don't know how.
I was on Block
Sorry.
Island. Well, this is great because sort of comes back to this. I was on Block Island, and it sort of brought me back to why I do this. I was on Block Island on mushrooms on the 4th of July. Because how'd you spend your 4th of July? Drinking beer? Boring.
Hell yeah.
You gotta
So-
change things up for America.
So I sat against this log for like 5 hours, and I was playing all these songs and telling all these stories and just channeling, you know, and playing all these songs, and people were listening, and people would come up and they'd be like, well, do you know this song? And all these people who've been around were like, no, he's been telling his own songs and they're great. Like, sit down and listen, you know. And it was so cool
Wow.
to reach the younger generation. Like, that fireworks are going off. I'm like, that's a lot of pollution, but it's beautiful.
yeah.
And I was like, you know, talking with these people and like making up all these, you know, we have like these things, like these inside jokes, like, you know, like that, or like shout out to whatever. So I was like, do you think fish when fireworks go off are just like, oh my God, what's happening? What is it? What is this? And then it ends and like, oh, my, you almost gave Jimmy, Bob, Frank, you know, all these people heart attacks. And then the seals are just like, well, I'm just gonna sit on a rock, fuck this.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not gonna do any dolphins, like dolphins and seals. So then I'm like saying all these things, and what do we got? Oh, it ended. Could only be so long. But you know, it's like all these things that are happening, and I was like adding them to the story, you know, like all these things like dolphins and fish and mushrooms and blah 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 while playing the song, and all these people are laughing, and we're there for like 3 hours, you know, and it just, I love jams like that, fireside stuff like that. I love showing up and disappearing before people know who I am, because it's not about name, it's about the message, and that's what I always come back to. And I think if we do that more and we listen to our bodies and just do what we feel is right for us and doesn't hurt anybody and don't be a dick, I think we're good.
I don't know if I
That's a
can do
good
that.
message, yeah.
That's a good message. Do you want to play a song quick? before
Yeah, let's do
Or
it.
should we end on the song, you think?
We can end on a song. Is there? Yeah, we can end on a song. is there any parting, any advice you have to anybody aspiring to maybe do something or a little bit like what you do? Anyone?
So, Todd Snyder said, he asked a guy at an open mic, he was like, my name's Todd Snyder and I want to do what you do. And he said, if you want to always get better at writing songs, you got to be able to pack up everything you own in less than 15 minutes and be out of wherever the fuck you are. And you will always get better at writing songs.
Interesting. That's interesting.
So,
Penn, why don't you move on over to center stage?
Center stage.
I will. Hold on.
It's unacceptable.
No, right.
Wait a long enough.
You're ejected.
Not ejaculated. We'll come back to that.
Yeah, we're actually not going to. We're just going to leave it hanging.
I like that. There you go. See, there's all sorts of inside jokes. And yeah, it's been a really fun journey, and it's only just beginning. You know, connected with a lot of really, really great people that I admire, and I've gotten the chance in the past month to meet some people who've inspired me. You know, 3 years ago, before I hit the road, pretty much, or shortly after, I heard about this cat Nako Bear and Nako Medicine for the People, and I think a month ago I played him a song, and 2 weeks ago I handed him a CD, and he knew who I was, and it's cool. It's cool when people remember you, know, and being memorable is a cool thing, and I just can't wait to make medicine and music with all these great people who I've met along the way. So.
Oh yeah, dude.
So I wrote this song on mushrooms on the 4th of July. And I was just sort of thinking to myself, you know, send a message to my father, you know, tell him shout out to dads. Everybody should really, you know, be more in touch with their parents and meet them where they're at, because, you know, they went through a lot to get to where you are, and just be grateful and stay humble. And I guess, you know, I'm working on that every day myself. So it's called Calling Me Out to Sea. Send a message to my father, tell him I'm okay. I hear mom's got her art down at the gallery. There's something so poetic when you hear the harmonies. It's like a wave calling me out to sea. Calling me out to sea. It's calling to you and me. Well, there's some people on this island I met just the other night. Somewhere between here and there, under the moonlight. I was only listening and sharing what I've learned from a long life traveling, always to return. Calling me out to sea. It's calling to you and me. You guys want to sing that with me? Calling me out to sea. It's calling to you and me. So when you're weary of the road ahead, you got no place to be, no place to lay your head. Trust in what is honest and hold your arrow true, and what you're manifesting will find its way to you. There's something so powerful in the love of lovers' arms, and knowing you might have to leave, but know before I part, so much of me is made of what I took from you, and the blessings I've received are finally coming true. Calling, 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 calling me out to sea. Alright, yeah. Calling, 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 it's calling to you and me. Calling, 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 calling me out to sea. It's calling, 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 calling to you and me. And I think, one of the most important things is getting people to sing along, That's one of the reasons I started playing, so that people would want to hang out, sing along, and it's hard to do that when you're reading poetry. So I just turned poetry into songs, and just started doing this and traveling around, and writing more songs that help other people sing too, because a lot of people, might not think they have a great voice, and everyone's got a voice, it's just how you use it. So thanks for listening and hanging out. Send a message to my father, tell him I'm okay.
Thank you so much, man.
Farming is
Awesome.
revolution. It's lit. And, plant trees, grow movements, do what makes you happy, and don't be a dick. Peace,
Yeah,
love, and potato chips.
Well, you can't end it better than that.
Can't end it better. Thanks so much, man.
Absolutely. Cheers.
Dude, it's been a blast.
Amazing.
Thank you
Oh,
so
wow.
much.
Thank you.
Love to have you back sometime.
Absolutely.
Whenever you're back up here, I don't know how long that'll be.
Never.
Me neither. Well, there's something so powerful in the love of lovers' arms. And knowing you might have to leave, but know before I part, so much of me is made of what I took from you. The blessings I've received are finally coming true. Calling,